Call the August 5th meeting of the Community Relations Commission to order at this time. Item number 2, the agenda I sent out Friday has a couple additions to it. As far as the neighborhood mini grant applications, we had 2 more that came in after I sent out the agenda, so I just went ahead and added those. So if there's a motion to approve the revised agenda as presented, I will take it now.
I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
John, is there a second?
Second.
There's a second, and the motion carries. Next, we'll move to the approval of minutes from the July 1st, 2025 meeting. Those are in your packets. Any corrections or edits or anything? Anything we need to add about those? Not, I'll take a motion.
I'll second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. So item number 4, we'll go ahead and take a roll call. Iman must be caught in some traffic, so he is not present. Lori Copsey,
Present.
Angie Wentz, Tim Swartzen-Trooper,
Present.
John Dozel,
Here.
and Council Liaison Phil Litterock, and CDBG Administrator Teresa Cummings, and Communications Manager Amanda Guzman. He's here. I didn't hear that, but I know you're back there. So we'll move on to item number 5, and that's a community partnership presentation from Chain Reaction Bicycle Project. This Goshen-based nonprofit operates a community bike shop that helps people access affordable transportation and teach repair skills and offer low-cost bikes and run a work-to-own program where volunteers can earn a bike. So today we have Kathleen Knopfsinger Yaki. Okay, I got it. And then we also have Jeremy Suter here as well to present on their community partnership application. So the floor is yours.
Okay. I recognize some of you as being former customers and donators, so thank you very much for that. Chain Reaction has been around since 2004 when we started in the little tiny garage. I've been with the organization since 2012, I believe. Anyway, we do have a presentation PowerPoint. So let's start with that.
And you all have a copy of that also in front of you as well. So Amanda's pulling that up on the screen as we speak.
Okay, so this is a picture of our workroom inside the bike shop, and we have tools available for anybody to come and borrow, use in the shop. They can bring their own bicycle to work on it. They can work on another bicycle that has been donated to the shop, and either work on that one to be able to earn it and have it for their own, or work on a bicycle and use that as credit toward a different bicycle. So what's the next slide? Yes, so we do have all of our bicycles are donated, and so we sell them again at affordable prices. We have the Work to Own program available to anyone who has the time and wants to do it. We have we have one part-time shop manager, but everybody else are volunteers. And we host volunteer groups too. Here's your your timeline. Thank you very much. So, and I don't remember, is that the last slide?
We got one more
We
here.
got one more. Okay. So yes, in 2024, 32 bicycles were earned through the Work to Own program. 295 were donated. 178 were sold, part of those to Life Cycle of Elkhart and the Jail Ministries program. We had 336 volunteer visits. Many of those are repeats as they are participating in the Work to Own program. It takes 2 or 3 different days of coming in because we're not open 8 hours. And 600 some bicycles were repaired and returned to the road. So we are a nonprofit, and we, once upon a time when we had the recycling program and customers, and we collected recycling, that program subsidized the shop. We had to let go of that program about the same time that Borden came in. And so now we are only the bike shop, and we're finding it much harder to get the income that we need in order to pay the bills. And so we do need donations. We go to individuals. We have a few churches that support us, and we also need to apply for grants. So do you have any questions?
How many volunteers would you say that you have on a regular basis who come to the shop to work?
Probably between 4 and 6.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of the parts that you have there are donated, correct?
Yes, yes. The parts either have been donated or they're taken off of a bicycle frame that is not able to be made into a usable working bicycle, but there are parts that are salvageable. We do have to buy a few parts like tires. They wear out, inner tubes. We can patch many of them, but not all of them. And some customers want to buy a new tube, so we purchase those too.
So a lot of these bikes that you get, probably a lot of times would end up, just being thrown away.
Right,
They weren't donated to you.
right.
Kind of piecing them together and getting them back on the road to people who need them.
Yes, yes. And the ones that we cannot salvage, we make sure that they get picked up by scrap dealers. And so then it goes to OmniSource instead of to the landfill.
That's good to hear. Yeah, we had a chance to go over there. It's quite the operation you have. And a lot of bikes. They have a little mini showroom in the front of the shop where they have bikes that they've repaired and are for sale. And anybody can buy these bikes. once
Anybody
they're-
can buy it. Yeah,
So
yeah.
What kind of marketing or outreach do you have to the community to let them know that these are available?
We do a lot by word of mouth. We have a website. We also have a presence on Facebook and other platforms like Instagram. We have done events like every year we'll go to the Elkhart County Fair and have a booth there. We've done events at the farmers market and take bicycles there to make them available to sell. We've had yard spring sale, things like that.
Have you ever had a booth at First Friday?
Yes, we have had that too.
I've utilized your service multiple times over the years, both to
Uh-huh.
repair my bike as well as donate, guys came over and picked up about 5 bicycles earlier this spring. And
Oh,
I think it's a great operation. But I agree with Angie, it's too bad more people don't know
right.
that this exists. So I know where you're kind of tucked away
Yeah,
in that neighborhood.
yeah.
It's kind of hard to find after you guys moved.
I know, I
I
know.
struggled to try to find you that one.
We
time.
we had a hard time finding a location that we could afford and was still close enough to downtown.
Yeah.
I can't claim the responsibility for finding that building, but we have it.
But I do think that anything that you can do to help get the word out to people, or anything that we
Mhm.
might be able to do to help share that, because it's a great service and very valuable.
You mentioned grants. Are there other grants that you're pursuing as well?
We're pursuing one with the Community Foundation of Elkhart County. And we are also going to be, we're all part-time. So when we get time, we will be pursuing other grants also. There's a bicycling organization in Indianapolis area that we're aware of that might have some funds that they could let us have. Bicycle Michiana, I believe, have made a verbal pledge to make a donation. I don't know how much that'll be.
Any other questions?
Specifically, the ask for today, how would you use that funding if you were to get a grant or funding? Is there a specific thing you'd like to do with that?
Well, we have a need in our facilities right now to fix the sewer line.
Right.
And so we're in the middle of that project and needing to raise funds, but we need to raise not just funds for that particular project, but to help us maintain through the entire year.
Have you done, you mentioned some events and some yard sales. Have you done any type of other type of fundraisers over the years?
Yeah, over the years, we have done a online crowdfunding a couple of times. We had an event several years at GBCO with an auction, silent auction. And we do send out a fundraising letter at least once a year.
Do you have anything like that lined up for the remainder of this year?
There certainly will be a fundraising letter coming out soon, or this fall, or both. We have not had an event at GBCO for a while. When we did that, we had more board members on the board, and so we had a little bit more people power to do that sort of thing.
That'd be nice if GBCO was receptive to doing something like that again.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure they would be. Yeah.
So what about Goshen College? Have you reached out to them at all? I mean, lots of students, lots
Yes,
of needs for bikes.
yes, we advertise in the Goshen College Communicator. I work there in the advancement office. We do advertise in the Communicator to let students know that we are available for buying bikes, and or fixing a bike that they currently have. And we've had a number of students do that over the years, and some of their parents continue to give donations. So.
Thank you, Kathleen. Yeah, I don't have any other questions unless somebody else does. All right, well, we appreciate your time and and talking a little bit about chain reaction today.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for the opportunity.
All right, thank you. So that moves us along to item number 5 on the agenda, which is a presentation by Mike Keene, who was coming from South Bend and might have gotten tied up and is not here yet. So we might have to postpone this. I'll just say I toured. I don't know if you had a chance to watch the video that I included in the email with the agenda, but it really kind of highlights some of the outreach and the grassroots neighborhood building and placemaking that they're doing in South Bend, particularly the near north side redevelopment and the kind of micro development in that neighborhood, with kind of promoting small time development, urging small time developers who are otherwise homeowners and trying to piece by piece kind of infill some of the blight in their neighborhood. So if you haven't already, I would urge watching that video. And then we'll try to get Mike back here at another time to present. So I apologize for that. And Daniela, who from La Casa, isn't present today, so we won't hear that. So we'll go ahead and move to item number 8, our neighborhood block party mini grant application review. And you'll see we have several in here, which is encouraging. We had one at College Farms just this past weekend. Amanda attended that one, and it was well attended. So these the ones that are on there now are, and they're in your package, we'll start with the West Goshen Neighborhood Association. That is on August 16th. Then we have the Historic South Side Neighborhood on August 9th. The Historic Racemere Peninsula Neighborhood on August 23rd. And a new one that I hadn't really heard of before called the Fiddler's Edition, which is kind of in that neighborhood, the East Reynolds, East Douglas neighborhood, which is, I'll admit, that's where I grew up. So I'm kind of excited to see that people are active in that neighborhood and doing things and having events. And so, and that one is actually October 18th. So that's down the road a ways. So the applications are in front of you. They're pretty cut and dry. They meet our criteria. So if you have any questions, do those now.
Just like to note that in October, they will be showing the Notre Dame football game at their party.
Perhaps the last Notre Dame USC game in the near future. So,
Is that the historic south side? Oh, which neighborhood?
Fiddlers.
the Fiddlers.
Ruthmere. Oh,
We used to call that our neighborhood the Horseshoe, because it kind of bends around. So
Yeah.
I might have to talk to them and suggest that. Fiddler's Edition. So if there aren't any questions, I'll take a motion on approval of the neighborhood block party mini grant applications.
We move to approve all of them, or do we need to? do
Yeah,
them
we
one
can
by one?
we can approve all of them at once.
I move that we approve all the applications.
A second.
Motion and a second. Any opposed or all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. So looking ahead, we did not have our First Fridays CRC table this past First Fridays because of our city colleague picnic at Abshire Park, which was, it was good to see see those of you who could attend there. It was a great time. But we'd like to pick up the First Friday CRC table again in next month on September 5th. The way we did it the last time was we kind of ran it from 4 to 8 with 2 different shifts. We had a setup shift and a teardown shift. Angie brought a tent. First Fridays provided the table. We had a map. We were able to interact with a lot of people there. Giving away candy was a big help, drawing people into our tent. So I think in the next couple of weeks, I'll go ahead and see who wants to sign up for the different shifts. Multiple, we could have 1 person there, or we could have 3 people there. I'd just like to see as many of us participate as possible. So I'll send out that information this week or next week.
Any lessons learned from the first, the one we did a couple months ago? I know Angie and I kind of held down the fort for the 4 to 6 time, and again, with all the traffic and all the other distractions, it's sometimes hard to get people's attention. I know the map was a great way to get people to come up, but I also noticed the table next to us had one of those spinning wheel things, and I don't know if, I hate to resort to gimmicks or something, but I'm wondering if we can think of something to get, handing out candy too, but yeah.
I do have a Cavalier King Charles I could bring. It'd be real popular, I'm sure. So, one of the things that we discussed is we have, as our map is on kind of like this poster board, and bringing tacks or pins where you can kind of pin where your address is, so people can see which neighborhood association they're within, where they live. So we thought maybe that would be a good interactive tool element to kind of get people to talk with us and think about what a lot of people probably don't even know what their neighborhood association is.
Right.
So they can kind of see where they line up in the geography. So.
I think in my past life, corporate life, doing a lot of trade shows and things, the trick is just to have some activity to get them to stop and interact. And I don't know if we could include, like, if you do this, your name goes into a raffle or something, and give a
Good idea.
$15 gift card or something, just, something to give them more of a reason to do that. And then if they're doing that, then that gives us opportunity to ask about, did you know you had a neighborhood association? Or if you don't, is that something you'd be interested in seeing in your neighborhood? Again, just those kind of discussions and things.
Absolutely. I like that.
I think it'd be helpful to have a flyer or QR code linking to the city's page with the neighborhood associations. Like if they didn't know they had a neighborhood association, they can just go to that QR code and see who their contact person is.
We have, I think, Amanda, given out to the people last few months ago.
And by the way, I did reach out. Well, I sent an email to Philip, and I can't remember his last name, who was listed as the Parkside Neighborhood Association lead. I haven't heard back from him yet. I'm not sure if he's still in that role, but I did ask if he wasn't the right person, who might be. But I don't know if other than just establishing that contact, is there any specific things you would, want us to discuss? Or, obviously the block party grant and, just the state of the neighborhood association.
Issues that they're facing.
Yeah, I did mention the
neighborhoods.
possibility of a walkabout
Mhm.
also, so.
I think it would also be a benefit to talk about what community is in general as well. I've noticed some Facebook posts about certain things that the city has done for community building, and you know, the thing that strikes me most is the anger that some people express of, did my tax dollars pay for this? You know, and I think that people just assume that community happens without effort. And we know that that's not true, which is why we're all here.
Right.
But just generally being able to, you know, share that, you know, it does take work to know people and to be part of the community. And, you know, as part of the community, we should at the very least try to understand that what we as individuals think aren't necessarily the end all be all. If there's a way we can do that.
I always like the term, we're investing in our community, which has a whole different connotation if you're spending money. Well, yeah, we're spending money on something, but it's an investment to get some greater benefit out of it. So it's not just wasting taxpayer money. Yeah.
I don't know if there's a way to create a flyer or something that says, hey, by doing this, it makes these expenses over here go down. If there's any kind of statistics where, you know, policing is down, or, you know, response times are quicker if, you know, a neighbor is able to, you know, be aware, or I don't know. I'm just thinking
Yeah.
out loud.
I mean, that's a very good point that you make, and those are things that we're working through now in the budgeting process with the Senate Bill 1 and the revenue restrictions that's going to cause. Is really illustrating what, as you said, what community is and what that money goes toward and what those services are. So I don't know that I want to get too much into a financial political discussion at First Fridays, but if it presents itself like that, I think, you know, we can be prepared to kind of make some of those points.
Is there anything in place at the table to gather emails that would be, so like their name, email, the neighborhood that they would be in, and then that would be their asking to have whoever's the head of that neighborhood association to put them on the email list, because maybe they don't have everybody's email in that neighborhood.
Collected a couple emails the last time. I think, to John's point, if we do something like a raffle,
Yeah.
that I think can generate some more emails.
And on the raffle ticket, name, email,
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Well, the email is how we announce that you won the prize, whatever that prize might be. So, you know, it's kind of creates a way to,
We need it.
because I know some people do not want to give out their personal information, put it on a list, but if you give them a reason, even if it's a little one, you know, we have to be able to contact you if you win this raffle. So,
Those are, yeah, and those are the kind of connections that, you know, we want to gather as many of those as possible, get people involved.
Yeah.
So if we're able to really kind of message them on a regular, more personal basis like that, yeah, I think that would be a valuable way to get some of those contacts. Anything else on First Friday's table at this point? And obviously you can if you have additional ideas or thoughts, you know, feel free to pass those along at any time.
It would be the first Friday that the Goshen College students are back.
Number 5th.
Do something, welcome back to the community or something, just to notice that.
Well, we'll have our resource guide handouts that we can hand out as well. So have some of those students come by and say hi to us. All right, moving on to our upcoming block parties. I would encourage whoever's available on this commission to attend as many of these as you can. We certainly understand that you know, are people who have plans and busy, and your weekends are your weekends. But anytime we can get out there and interface and connect, and I think it's important And we'll make sure that you get those invitations along with our city councilors and city leaders. So coming up, we have the annual historic Southside Block Party. Coming up, let me see what those dates.
On the 9th.
Yeah, August 9th. We have West Goshen. My dates got removed from here somehow.
16th.
The 15th, 16th. The Clover Creek Ice Cream Social. Which one is that?
Is that listed up on top?
What on the 23rd?
23rd. And the Historic Racemere Best Damn Neighborhood Potluck.
So they're both. Yeah.
We have a 3 to 5 and a 4 to 6.
Clover Creek.
Left on there.
Say Racemere was the 23rd also.
Correct. That's the Clover Creek Ice Cream Social. It's not included in this one.
Mm-mm.
Like I said, we'll be sending out invitations.
Okay.
Calendar invites to all of these. So. Then I also wanted to talk a little bit about Indigenous Peoples Day. What we'd like to do this year is move that to the October 3rd First Fridays, which is the Harvest Festival. And one of the main reasons for doing that is hopefully there's enough people downtown where we can get some more participation. And we're moving that. We'd like to move that from the theater because the Goshen College has that rented out already for their jazz band. But move it to Ignition and have part of the ceremony, like the dancing and the music, outside. Just so more people will have access and can see that. And then there will be also some programming inside. I'm currently working with the Pokagon Band of the Potawatomi on that program, programming, and we have another meeting, I think tomorrow, to talk about that. The actual day is October 13th, the actual Indigenous Peoples Day, which is a Monday. But we thought it would be just a good fit, I think, to move it to First Fridays. We've talked with Amanda Rose with First Fridays, and they're really excited about it as well. So.
Are they doing any other activities on the 13th then?
We don't have anything planned.
I mean,
right
not for
now.
us, but I mean,
Yeah.
Pokagon Band.
Pokagon, I'm sure they do, but I don't know about here.
Okay.
So that would essentially be our Indigenous Peoples Day celebration. It would just be moved to the 3rd rather than be observed on the 13th.
So would we be like hosting a booth table kind of thing in conjunction with that, or just sponsoring their presentation?
No, we could do a booth table. I mean, very nearby. We were thinking about having some sort of Native American food options
Mhm.
around. We were talking about maybe partnering with the Goshen Historical Society, see if they wanted to have some sort of presentation or table up front, maybe Fables Books, if they had literature or books that they have set out there as well for sale. So we're going to try to bring in a couple other entities to be part of that as well. Then the other thing we wanted to chat about is the next CRC meeting, which right now we have scheduled as the Historic Southside Neighborhood Walkabout. So that would be on October 7th. I've talked with Megan Hessel who is their chairperson, president, I'm not sure, what do you call them?
President? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
President. So, and we've talked about some options where we could stop. We obviously thought the library would be a good stop. Programming that they have there for the neighborhood. Chandler, the old Chandler Elementary School, which is now more of a vocational hub for the school corporation. And pre-K. Yeah, they have pre-K, and they're also going to have, they're working on a welding program. They have the
Chain Reaction, is that in that neighborhood too?
Chain Reaction is not in that neighborhood.
Oh, okay,
They're
'cause
on
that's
the
above.
Other side of Madison.
Yeah, okay.
They would be, and they would be involved with that. Yeah, if you have any other ideas or suggestions, walkabouts, feel free to let us know.
Is that, is 8th Street or 9th Street? What's the border?
The train tracks.
The train tracks? Okay.
Madison to Plymouth
Mhm.
Main Street.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, any questions or comments on our upcoming events?
So you said that walkabout will be October, not the next.
Correct. Yeah, it would be, no, I'm sorry, next September. I think it's September
we'll
2nd.
see this September.
I thought you were giving us September off.
Okay, 'cause
Yeah,
I was
that's, I
gonna
just
No,
assumed.
no. The second. Mhm. So, yeah, so that'd be, I mean, day after.
So September 8th, 6th.
Thanks for pointing that out. Pardon? Mhm. Number 2nd. All right, moving ahead, actually moving back.
Do we have a, I'm sorry, do we have a meeting place? Like last time we all met at Chamberlain and
Yeah, it'll probably likely be Chandler. But we'll finalize that, let everybody know. Or library.
Bigger parking lot, yeah.
Instead of Burger Dairy store right there on Cottage. Yeah,
They had the best
I
video
remember.
games.
want a lot of Twinkies.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
And a lot of popsicles.
I'm going to move back on the agenda. I skipped over our CRC financial report. It's in your packet. It's not much different from the last one. We just haven't started paying out our mini grants yet, and we still have our Indigenous Peoples Day celebration, which we'll be spending some money for that out of the fund. So if you have any questions on the financial report that's included in your packet. If not, I'll ask for a motion to, actually, do I need a motion or is it just a? Yeah. Yeah, so we'll do a motion to approve the financial report.
I move that we approve the financial report as presented.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes. I added to the agenda this month, just commissioner reports. This can be pretty informal, but I just, if anybody has anything from their neighborhood or anything that you want to talk about as a commissioner, this would be the opportunity. So we can go around, or if anybody has something to say, they could just speak up. Whatever you're more comfortable with.
I can start.
All right.
Just a mini update. So A few weeks ago on Facebook page for the East Lincoln Crossroad Neighborhood Association, I put a post saying, "Hey, I'm inviting folks that live in the neighborhood to be like new leaders or take over this Facebook page." Um, I was on vacation for 2 weeks and my phone broke during it, so I'm not sure if anyone's like responded or anything like that. But I'm looking for folks to kind of take over since I was helping out with it a few years ago. So just like handing that off as well too. And then yeah, and then there was
Any feedback from that?
mm-mm. Yeah, but I also haven't been able to check with my phone being out of commission. Yeah,
How many people are on that?
I don't know offhand.
Thank you for doing that. That's-
And I went to the neighborhood association block party main new neighborhoods. That's pretty fun. So I now live in the Shanklin Mill Race neighborhood. So,
Yeah, so that's your neighborhood association now?
Yep.
Okay.
yeah. I used to live on Park Avenue by the bowling alley, and then recently moved to that neighborhood. Yeah.
I know I caught everybody a little off guard with the commission report. So, but anybody else have anything they want to add or say?
Only thing I'm aware of for the south side right now is the upcoming picnic, which is this Saturday in the 500 block of South 7th Street from 5 to 9,
Which one was that?
historic south side.
Teresa, anything from the world of CDGB that we need to be aware of?
I reviewed our grant and accepted it at the state level, like my Indianapolis rep. For the first time this year, they had to forward it to Washington DC to be approved, which they never 40 years. And that also got approved. We did have a few questions and they sent an email out at like 7:30 at night, and I was at Ball State University with my daughter at an orientation, and I happened to see like my email come up on my phone, and it said I had until like the next day to respond to their questions, or they would like not approve the grant. And I'm like, I am like in classes all day with my daughter, but it was fine. I just skipped. I went to the library and I had my remote stuff, and I was able to answer the questions. And my Indianapolis rep got back to me and said they approved my revisions. So I was like, oh, so like, thank goodness I was prepared. So yeah, now we're just waiting for them to release the agreement and the funds. So last year that didn't happen until September. So I was hoping it was going to be earlier since I've heard back from them already. In July, which I don't normally hear that soon. I was hoping it was going to be soon. Yeah, that will be for our program. You're supposed to start July 1st. So that will be through June 30th of next year, the funding. And I've heard Congress has both, the House and the Senate, have both their appropriation committees have recommended to continue CDBG funding, even though the administration had recommended to eliminate it. So their recommendation to the House and the Senate, they still have to vote, is to continue those grants. So that's for 2026, which would not be until July of next year when we would get that funding if it passes Congress. So it's looking favorable that it won't get canceled.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Yeah. knock on wood.
So we'll see what happens.
Thank you for that. Yeah, that's awesome.
It was fine. I actually attended there, so I was like, okay, I don't think they're gonna, I know programs have changed over the years, but I'm like, at least I'm familiar with everything. So it's just like, I'll just go sit in the library and do my work. It's kind of nice. It felt like
Oh,
something I
the
did. Yeah, I'm like, oh, I remember doing this, cramming for something. That's what I felt like I was doing.
You go to the chug after that?
That it's not there anymore, I don't think.
Not there anymore?
No, it's totally different. The downtown's so different.
All right. Thanks, Teresa. I'll go ahead and move to privilege of the floor if there's anybody who would like to speak.
I would throw in before you get there, we have 38% reduction in the city budget due to the bill that was passed recently. So we as a city council have often been able to avoid partisanship and polarization. But when you get to cutting 38% out of this budget, what people think are essential and what others think are not essential. I think as a community relations commission, it would be good to take note that there is going to be more intensity to the budgeting program and to the services and how to pay for the services that the city has typically provided. And then you add that in, as Teresa mentioned, the federal legislation. There are going to be coming cuts to Medicaid and SNAP benefits and some of our residents. That's going to impact. And the city usually can step up and help, but at a time when you have a 38% reduction in budget, that's not going to be as possible. So I don't want to be all doom and gloom, but I think as a commission that is in charge of thinking about the way we relate to each other as residents of Goshen, these are some stressors that we have not had past, and we are going to have them. And so I think this group would be good to keep your eyes and ears open and to brainstorm and talk about what can we do, not to solve the financial process, but actually what can we do to contribute to the process of dealing with this in ways that are helpful and not destructive to relationships within the city.
Right.
So I'm worried. I'll just tell you right out front, right up top, I'm very worried about what's going to happen in the next year.
Yeah, and people don't realize it. I mean, the word is, there's hate, whether we're fear mongering or not. This is reality. I mean, the numbers that we're looking at are kind of dire when you think about more than a third of your budget. And as Phil said, the added stress of other cuts with Medicaid and that type of thing. So,
Well, I will encourage, if you haven't, again, I know that Mike Keene wasn't able to make it, but that YouTube video that was included in the notice, if you get a chance to watch it, do watch it, because I think it kind of speaks to this, where community can all come together and not necessarily look at the local government to solve all their problems, neighbor by neighbor and piece by piece, say, what can we as individuals do locally to help our community? And it's much more than just the city government. It's all the different organizations and all the different individuals. And yeah, so there's, it's a little bit of a slightly different message, but not really too far off from what we do here as part of this commission. So
I agree.
So the question isn't really whether there's going to be disagreements about what to do. The question is, how do we process that in ways that are actually helpful and move the process forward rather than become more and more polarized? I mean, it doesn't take much to see it on the national level, but we've avoided it at the local level. So
I've found, though, if you're, you can get very hot and bothered politically, and I certainly do, on a national level. But then when you talk to a neighbor or a friend or somebody else who doesn't necessarily agree with you, it's much more difficult or not that easy to be so strident. And I think that just having those conversations, difficult as they may be, you can still come up with agreements and common solutions. And I mean, especially if you have a specific local issue you're trying to deal with, then sometimes politics don't really matter. But I get what you're saying with the funding specifically. And it's like, where we're going to spend money and where we're not going to spend money.
Well, and this commission does have the ability to study groups, research, come up with ideas, bring things to the city council if there are ideas that you have that would be helpful. So I encourage you to look through that ordinance again and see that there's a pretty sizable list of possibilities for the commission, and you may well have an important role to play in the coming year.
Are there any specific areas? I mean, like you said, yeah, I'm so new to this commission. I just recently read all of that stuff, so I'm kind of familiar with it. But from your standpoint, are there any specific areas where you think this commission should really focus on if we are doing some sort of a study?
I would have to think about that, but I would encourage you to talk to your friends and neighbors and say, what is it that we need to know more about? I don't personally, I don't think very many people are aware yet of how much of our budget has been cut, because it's been quite a few months since we've known. And every day that I talk to somebody about it, they're surprised. They say, what, 38%? What are you going to do? Well, that's a very good question.
So I think of things like the public library, other public services and facilities.
Schools, I mean, the big losers, public schools, public library, cities and counties.
Even things like Shanklin
Pool, South Side Fire Station, the EV charging station that was going to go into by the farmer's market, proposed additional police officers and firefighters. I mean, there are things. It has an impact.
I'll look out there for schools. It wasn't going to be this, but at least it was going to be work. Positive momentum toward remodel, rethought. That's definitely.
I think the best thing that we can do is help everyone, city council, the mayor, everybody who's having to make these hard decisions, help them get the word out, because I think transparency and knowledge is probably the best thing that, that information and giving people that information is the best thing that we can try to find ways to get it out to people. Because I mean, like the gentleman that were walking around town last week with the cameras out. I talked to them for a good 5, 6, 7 minutes at the visitor center, and basically their whole point was just to make sure that they could get information if they wanted it. Now their methods were a little, maybe not the greatest, but just by talking to them, they walked away from me. They told me who they were. They wouldn't at first, but as soon as I gave them what they wanted, well, not exactly what they wanted to get a rise out of me, but when I calmly told them, I answered their questions just as if they were anybody walking in, and their demeanor was like, okay, thanks, and walked out. And I think that maybe we can, and I would say, being able to address, and without getting political, and I know that my comment earlier probably came off as, not, running that line, but I think anytime that we can get out information, kind of accurate, reliable information, we can head off any of those kind of those tense moments.
I agree. I like that idea. Do you ever send out little cards or pamphlets like I get the state representatives little
Yeah.
things. This is what I'm doing. What if it was a mass mailing saying it doesn't have to be political either if you want to tamp that down, but just with bullet points, like this is the reality. Our budget is 38% cut, and these are some big changes that we're struggling with right now. Just so people are aware that it's not just the current city, that is like making like their hand was forced. So this is the reality of it.
No, we're planning that messaging as we go along. Budget hearings, September. Beginning of the month and
And 26 somewhere or something.
a lot of that is going to come out in those discussions. We'll have messaging. We've, the mayor has been very vocal, respectful about just cold hard facts of what we're facing. Spoken to local media multiple times. Talked about possibly, doing something more direct toward residents.
I was going to ask, I know the hearings are public and public is invited, but I know there's also been in the past, like at Shanklin Park or other locations, in the library, where it's more of a larger public meeting to say, along the lines of, we got to cut 37%. Here are some options. Can we get public input where they see, it's more valuable to have an extra 2 firefighters than it is to have a ED station, or whatever those options, just to get more. Because I think those types of things not just only help getting public input, but also to get the word out of just how dire the situation is.
Another thing we're doing is we're meeting with all of our community partners, that we've done, encouraging them to come, encouraging them to speak with their city councilors and state representatives about these concerns, about these. So we're really kind of having our own little grassroots outreach to these people, tell them these organizations, these nonprofits, really illustrate, the community impact, the financial impact these events have. First Fridays, Float Fest, and just the cultural impact that they have. Historical Society, it's good to have that knowledge of the community. Really encouraging people to illustrate the importance of, we're not just throwing money around. I mean, these are strategic and community-based initiatives that we're trying to perpetuate.
Maybe that's something that we could tie into the First Friday boost. It's just a calendar or a schedule of, hey, these are when these, you want to hear what's going on. You can tune in on Stream It Live or appear or get the word out that way.
That's a good
To help support.
That's a really good idea. Because not everybody takes the paper.
Right.
Not everybody's on Facebook. I mean, you have to go find out this information.
Yeah.
The mayor is also doing, I know of 2 invitations to smaller groups, a group at Greencroft and one at Waterford Crossing, that have requested more information. They've caught wind of it. They want more information. And so I know she's willing to do those kinds of things. So, but I love the idea of a larger group informational meeting, maybe as big as the Goshen Theater or something, to share
Like a town hall or
similar. Yeah. Excellent.
I think that's where a lot of people's frustrations are, is they don't feel heard. There's no avenue to chamber, we do have those First Friday event, I'm sorry, third house
House,
events
right.
where, business people can come and speak their minds. But there's just, we don't get a lot of representation from anywhere else. And those, for just the average person in the street to be able to speak.
Tough time of day to get to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know how many of you were at, I think it was the Christmas thing this year where Gina went through and she explained how much of the tax dollar comes to the city versus where else it goes and everything that has to cover. Like right down to how many vehicles the city owns and how, it was so informative.
Yeah.
I had no clue before that.
That would be very bad. I did see something in the paper where the governor is now pushing cities to increase the wheel tax or something like that's going to solve all the problems.
We passed the first reading of it. But that's content. I mean, nobody wants, who wants to be going on record as passing taxes? But
Right.
we voted 6-1 in favor of doing it on first reading. Next city council meeting, it comes up for the second reading. Personally, I voted for it. We have to do it. It doesn't make sense not to, but
Right.
okay, I stand by it.
And I think most people, once they see how drastic the cuts are going to be, are probably, and again, awareness, I think, is underwhelming right now. So many people are focused on their specific social media channels and they don't pay any attention to local news. And then they have no idea that any of this stuff is happening. So I don't know how you get that word out.
When Mayor broke it down, all those details, is that recorded online? Or are those minutes available where she broke it down? Because I'm wondering if we can share that
Did it
link.
at the theater.
Oh, okay.
And it was all city employees and like this commission was invited. But it was so well thought out and so well explained that it would make perfect sense to anybody who listened to it.
Was that from after Founder's Day back in March? Was it March maybe?
I can't remember what happened last week. Let alone that. No, I think it
Was it March?
maybe
It was cooler out. It was still cold, so I know
Yeah.
it was in the winter, but I don't remember. Because I was there too, and she talked about how like a fire truck cost this much
Yes.
at one point, and then now this is what it costs.
and even like a street sweeper, how much
Yeah. How
people
the
have
prices
no idea about
changed.
that stuff, but they expect their streets to be clean. So
They want fire service, but then do you want to pay the? Was it extra? It was like triple the cost of what it used to be for a fire truck. That money has to come from somewhere.
Well, and even how much of the budget goes to trash collection. So that people don't have to pay every month on their own.
You just hit on what our next 3 months are going to be all about. So our budget's cut. The state's not sending us money. Instead, they've opted to allow cities to choose to do local income taxes or choose to charge fees or choose to cut people or cut services. And then that has to be done, renewed every year. So it's not going to be one-time ordinance. Our wheel tax will have to be renewed. If we charging fees for trash every year, we have to start, local income taxes every year. So it's like I said earlier, I'm worried.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about the outcome because I think we have to increase the fees and taxes or we'll lose our services. And I don't think we want to do that. But I'm more worried about the conflict that could arise from stances. Because there are some people that would say, there is no way I will ever vote for raising the tax. It doesn't matter what it does. And there are others that say we have to do it. So,
Well, but I also think it's important that people understand why the taxes have to be raised. Because it was budget was cut 38%. So it's important that it doesn't reflect negatively on our local government here, because
But I was an assistant principal for many years, so I'm not worried about myself. I can take the heat. That's what I did. But I think others, conflict is difficult for some people to do well. So if this commission can help
Mhm.
in any way, I would encourage you to use your skills and your what the law has provided, the ordinance has provided for you to do.
We have a,
Did you have those dates?
September. They are. Just moved on my tabs. So it would be September 8th, Monday, September 8th. And I believe the 29th. Yeah, September 29th,
8th and 29th.
what time?
6 o'clock.
And we also have our regularly scheduled August city council meeting, of course,
Are those here?
was right here.
Mhm.
What date is that? August city council meeting.
It would be the 25th. Yeah, 25th.
6 o'clock.
Keep it a warm.
I promise to move by then, so.
All sorts of-
And those are all live cast too. I mean,
Yeah.
you can follow them online, or you can see a recording of it, just like this. This is being recorded. 25th, did I say? Yeah. Yeah. The, and there are opportunities, privilege of the floor at the beginning of the meeting for anything that's not on the agenda. And when a vote comes through, an opportunity to comment before the final vote. Favor or opposed. So you have two opportunities to use privilege of the floor. I'd encourage people to do that.
The next, the second reading. of the bill.
Much of that. Much of the 37%.
Not, no, I mean, it has, it's anticipated to raise $750,000 to directly go towards road repair, sidewalk repair, that kind of thing, which is just a drop in the bucket of what we need. But it does allow us to apply for matching grants and other things that if we don't pass the wheel tax, we would not be eligible for. So it has bigger ramifications.
That just is added to registration taxes. or
Right,
is it
you
gas?
would see it when you go to register your vehicles.
Everybody cheered up now?
Yeah.
I promise to bring something better to the next
Mm,
meeting.
mm, mm.
Yes, yeah.
But no, I really appreciate this discussion. And these are types of discussions that we need to be having in the community and thinking about ways that we can get through this and work together to do it.
Is that a role this commission could take to try to organize a public meeting like this and then invite the mayor and the city council to?
I think that they are being organized.
Okay.
There are other groups that are trying to get some information meetings and some town hall meetings, but I think the mayor also has a desire to share that information, but I can't speak for her. But what you could do is encourage it to happen, support what is happening.
sort of.
We could talk, yeah, we could talk about.
The way it reads, I'd have to go back and look at it, but you as a commission could propose to the city council something. And that's part of it. So, and you can, I think you can have study groups and you can have task force and that kind of thing as well as a commission.
Has everybody read the ordinance?
That might be worth sending out again.
Yeah, I think everybody, I'll send out. The update. It was just updated last year.
Are the police and fire unions? I mean, I'm thinking of avenues to communicate this to the general public, but it seems like a lot of groups are going to be affected who work for the city and are, again, just looking for different avenues to get the word out.
They're involved.
They're very involved. I mean, we've been having budget discussions for the past 2 months now, since we've gotten some sort of idea of what this impact is. And we've been scenario planning. So we've been looking at budgets. Is 10% reduction, 20%. That's just for 2026. So yeah, 7 is going to be its own problem. But yeah, the mayor's been meeting with the department, going with the assistance of Nick Philly, consultant, and kind of going through those scenarios. So everybody is well aware.
I know with the big beautiful bill, a lot of worst cuts are being put off till 2027, so it doesn't hurt people in the 2026 elections. So the worst effects don't happen until they're reelected. Is that also true with the state bill? Or
Well, I mean, our fallout is 2028. Based on the numbers provided by this lady. Really don't feel the impact
until after,
after the next winter.
No, the other part of what the mayor said that I thought was just so enlightening was not just, static services like, we have 20 vehicles that have to have oil changes and all that stuff. But the demand for services, I was astounded by the number of police calls that the city has to respond to, the number of ambulance calls, number of fire calls. Just making people aware of this is what your money is buying. Like, dial at 911, you want somebody to respond, and this is how many calls they're getting a year.
That's going to be the focus of our message. Not necessarily we have to cut 6 positions. That's very sterile. Okay, yeah, that's. But the impact of those 6 positions, what is that? Does that mean instead of, police getting to a call within 10 minutes, it's going to be 20 minutes? In those calculations, based on what we're going to be losing, what we're really going to try to do. These are the very real results, cause and effect. This is how it affects.
Here, people say, well, we gotta cut the fluff. It's not your red flags, but they're not fluff in the city budget. Unless, you say first Friday, is that fluff? Well, that's the identity of who we are as a city. Yeah, I could go all night with this, so I'm sorry.
The city.
Do a lot of that. We don't get that funding. Sure.
just kind of tie a ribbon around this, should we discuss like what we can do as a commission to address some of these? I think we have identified communication to the general public is a key concern who may not be aware of what's coming down pike here. Is that something we should then, as a commission, say, let's get together and come up with a proposal with the city council on how we can help with that communication?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I think a lot of that communication is going to come next month. As we're putting together the budget with these budget hearings. Mayor has a good idea of how she wants that message.
Okay.
Yeah, any way that we can help her get the message out. Send that invitation to the CRC.
I wonder if it would help if she just did a 10-minute little address with us, letting us know these are the key.
Certainly, I'm sure we'll talk about it at the walkabout. Set aside some time
Mhm.
after that.
Once these September budget meetings, is this then kind of locked in for 2026? Is that the intent?
The budget hearings will be, so we have to have 2 readings.
All right.
Budget has to be passed.
So September 29th would be
Yeah.
that.
So that would be the passing.
So once that budget is done, is it, I mean, so are we looking to try to get word out before that takes place? The public has an opportunity to comment and to hear what's happening? Or is it also after that to say, okay, cuts have already been made. Now we need to communicate what those cuts are gonna,
I mean, we're gonna try to communicate that.
yeah, yeah.
Really illustrate what the true impact is. Process. It's very
Right.
incremental.
And I'm asking all these questions just because I'm trying to understand it in my own head, like.
Which is what we're doing.
Yeah.
The two things that I would encourage you to do is to look at the ordinance and see what your responsibilities and what your scope of duties could be. Second is to just think about it in terms of your community relations commission. So how can you, I mean, your job isn't to do the communication as much as it is to what is how can you contribute to the process being a positive one? How can you, what are systems, what are events, what are skills that you can bring to making a contentious process one that is not destructive? Be contentious and not destructive.
The city budget's on a calendar year, not a fiscal year.
So if, you're saying 2028 is when we're going to see the biggest, what if in between now and then it becomes obvious to everyone that as a result of cuts, this is why we don't have funding for this or that or the other thing, and there's a big blowback, uproar. Is there a chance for things to be rectified or changed, or is that really not okay?
One of the challenges is the state is on a biannual budget. So any fixes will probably have to come. Budget year. Unless there's things that they can do during the short session next year. I'm not sure exactly. Those are other things that we're exploring and we're trying to illustrate to our state reps. This is reality of what we're facing. we're starting to see signs that this is starting to wear on some of them, as far as, enough people are voicing their discontent or their concern. So I think the more that we illustrate these points, the more chance that we'll have that some sort of corrective action.
Great.
For the,
One last point, and I've got to stop talking about this. Remember that the budget was passed at 2:30 a.m. in the morning with many last minute additions, and nobody, and I mean nobody, knew all the ramifications for that when they voted on it. And it was on the last day of the legislative session at 2:30 a.m.
Yeah, most of them hadn't even read the full bill.
will our local state representatives be available for any budget meetings?
Yes, exactly.
I would love that.
Explain.
That'd be nice.
We have the budget meeting at JoJo's Pretzels.
Yes. Well, I would. Why couldn't she be there? I mean, isn't that her job to be present?
I've taken it too political. Yeah, I'll stop.
All right. Well, anybody have anything else for the order? Not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.